his media outreach. And if you've ever seen a film by Noam Chomsky, it is called, I can't think of the name right now, actually.
Manufacturing Consent.
Yes, thank you. Manufacturing Consent. So anyways, so this documentary spills out exactly how our media works for and at the behest of Israel and all of their policies that would benefit them. In particular, obviously, settlement building, Jerusalem being named the capital, which was just done under Trump, which I don't agree with, by the way, but I still support Trump, man. He's done 9 out of 10 things right. That's the way I see it, man. And so the enemy of thy enemy is thy friend. So if the media hates him, all of Congress hates him, all of big business hates him, military-industrial complex hates him, the Zionist movement hates him, bro. If that's the case, the Democrats hate him. If that's the case, sign me up. I love him, just for that. For that.
Yeah,
for that. Yeah. I haven't even heard any of his policies yet, and if I heard just that that all of those groups hate Trump, I would be like, yes, please sign me up on his team, because if they hate him, there's something he's doing right. He's saying right. And that's what gets me really upset, that people are not sticking up for him more right now. So my idea the other day, and I sent you a message that I was going to tell you about this, that I didn't get it across yet, was that why not have every single Trump supporter in the entire United States, including Alaska and its territories, voluntarily come up and say, we will give you all of our votes to show you our true number.
Something I saw that was very wise on the internet was, if you're a Democrat or and you are opposed to Trump ending a 19 war in Afghanistan, then you've probably shown your true colors. You aren't principled. You just oppose Trump just because he's Trump. Like the Trump just anger towards him has gotten so deep in your system that you don't realize that he's actually saving lives all over the world by ending a war. So if you don't care about that and you're just vehemently against Trump right now for ending the war in Afghanistan, you have Trump derangement syndrome.
It's not just ending the war that they would be.
Right. That's just what I saw.
And look, I don't even like that Trump derangement syndrome connotation, only because it categorizes people into a pocket, and we need to try not to be the same as the liberals, because the liberals are doing that to their conservatives, and the conservatives are all like, wait a second, we're all one huge melting pot who believes the exact same thing. You people are all different demographics of people arguing about different things and different identities and different social justice issues, different one single issue policies that you guys complain about. And we're all just about like freedom. Leave us alone. Let us do what we want to do, make money, survive, take care of our families, and protect our country. And that's it, the end. Go away. He ran on the principles of like Americans standing up for their rights, of the little person. And even though he's technically not a little person, because he's got billions of dollars before he came into the election, he was an outsider. He wasn't in politics. And so because he wasn't in politics, he was able to say, hey guys, even though I'm not down there with you guys, in Rosito or in Boyle Heights or in, Alameda County, I'm in my golf course in the boonies. I don't work in government. I don't work in the U.S. Congress. I don't work in Washington, D.C. I see the same way you guys see the bullshit that's going on inside. And let's get together. Let's help. I've got money. I'm going to run on my own money so that we can be a voice against these disgusting people in government. And people are like, yeah, all right. The smart people. And then the dumbasses who were watching MSNBC, who was worried that he would do that, who China was watching, who was worried that he would do that. Because, listen, Trump did everything that we needed him to do, and the people who suffered in the end because of his policies we're the ones trying to get him out of office. And those are our enemies. And the fact that I don't know, I mean, the fact that Antifa and Black Lives Matter aren't on his side is kind of where I was going with that, is that you were saying ending the war, that same principled ideology that Democrats had in the beginning of the 2000s and the late 90s of like, you know, peace and love and Bush sucks because of the wars and, you know, he's a tyrant and all this stuff, is the same. That's the same melting pot of people that are in Black Lives Matter and that are in Antifa. They're the kind that don't want big government, that have a moral compass to a certain extent, or that had. Okay, let's not get that twisted. What's sad is that they veered into a crazy direction, crazy dimensions. They rhyme for a reason, because the media twisted him in that direction. I mean, that's like, I don't know, that's manufacturing consent.
Yeah.
Right there.
Oh, that's a good, yeah, full circle. Yeah. I think what generally tends to happen when people become disenfranchised is they become radicalized. John F. Kennedy said, if you make peaceful protests impossible, you make violent revolution inevitable. That's paraphrasing, but the point is that these people, like you've said, have been listening to CNN and these other far left media news outlets for 4 years straight, nonstop, saying Trump is the enemy, and for a bunch of times him being compared to Hitler. So if you have people who have already this tendency to be outspoken and this tendency to be against conservatism, being told that your president is like Hitler, eventually you're going to start equating Trump to fascism, which is, as anyone with any basic understanding what fascism is, that's an absurdity. But these people who've not only been in these echo chambers and watching these left-leaning news media outlets, they're also in these social media echo chambers, which have been made 10 times worse because of the adjustments made to algorithms done by the likes of Facebook and Twitter and Google, which isn't really good for reconciliation between the two sections of ideals in our country right now.
It's so frustrating, man.
Mm-hmm.
What is one supposed to do regarding the media? I mean, if they're able to call elections, I don't know, man. I'm kind of at a loss, because today, now that our own corner is going after Tucker Carlson, phone is about to die. I'm getting a charger.
Cool deal. Well, what do we do as a country? I think right now our current.
Hey, I would ask you this. What do you think about how our own corner is going after Tucker Carlson now?
Well, I wouldn't say our entire side is going after Tucker. I think there is an effort by the media to try and pressure him to be more centrist, like the rest of Fox News. But I think any sort of language of that has influenced certain people to go after him because of Sidney Powell. If you haven't heard, Sidney Powell has had an epic speech, and she was tearing up and making this super awesome speech. In fact, I'm going to air that here.
Were allowed to rig their elections. This is stunning, heartbreaking, infuriating, and the most unpatriotic acts I can even imagine for people in this country to have participated in any way, shape, or form. And I want the American public to know right now that we will not be intimidated. American patriots are fed up with the corruption from the local level to the highest level of our government, and we are going to take this country back. We are not going to be intimidated. We are not going to back down. We are going to clean this mess up now. President Trump won by a landslide. We are going to prove it, and we are going to reclaim the United States of America for the people who vote for freedom.
No, I'd love to hear your take on what to do about our fellow conservatives attacking fellow conservatives. Because look, I wasn't just talking just that single issue of everyone ganging up on Tucker Carlson. No, I'm talking about like we need to make sure that we don't start to break, because dude, you and I have seen this happen. We saw this happen in Ron Paul. Our entire organization, our entire movement got fragmented after he lost. And it was because of infighting, because of stupid shit, people endorsing Mitt Romney. And now we're all those idiots now who endorsed Mitt Romney. You know,
they're all rhinos.
Now that Mitt Romney is talking all this schmack, it's amazing how much Mitt Romney is really, I don't know. But anyways, like we need to, my point is we need to make sure that we don't fragment the Trump movement, bro. That's gonna happen.
That's what they want. So
no, it's gonna happen. It's like 9 out of 10 possibility. 9 out of 10 chance possibility. It's gonna fragment because they're gonna cause us to start fighting with each other. And look, it's happening. I don't know who took off with that news and ran with it, man. But that person has to be a liberal. And then they injected that into the conservative commentary. And now a lot of conservatives are mad at Tucker, who is a hero. Who is a freaking hero, man. Freaking fresher.
So I can bridge that gap a bit here as your phone charges. So yeah, this whole thing is hinging on that Sidney Powell thing, and in terms of the reaction, it makes sense as to why people are upset at Tucker, because Sidney Powell made this really impactful speech, but Tucker was just being a journalist, calling out like, hey, those are some very big words to put in a sentence together and say on national TV. Those are big accusations that need to be backed up a bit more. And I just hope you did that. I hope you do that now that you're laying out the case. And the Dominion stuff goes so deep. It's incredible. We can talk about that too. But first, we definitely do have to talk about the fragmentation starting to happen, which we've talked about this before, but it's happened in the past. It happened at the Tea Party with Ron Paul. It happened
Occupy
Wall Street. It happened during Occupy.
They're liberal. It happened with the group of mothers against the Iraq War. What was their name? Code Pink. It happened in Code Pink. Bro, Code Pink was a really good organization, man. A group of mothers upset about a war. Come on. And then guess who, bro? I did a lot of research on this during the early 2000s, man. Because remember, I'm a little older than you, so back then I was actually like just out of high school when Iraq and 9/11 happened.
Yeah.
So all my college years was through the Iraq War and through Bush.
Yeah.
So I went through all this shit. And do you know the media who was in charge? I'm sorry, cut.
You know the media.
Do you know the media influencer back then who was in charge of influencing people against Code Pink?
No.
Richard Engel.
No. Are you Biden's guy?
Biden's new transition team media guru. Okay. Now, my point here being, my friend, is that left, right, Democrat, Republican, Libertarian, Green, whatever, there is a group of people working with Jewish fucking last names. Excuse me, I'm just going to say it. They're all working with the exact same last name, who their sole purpose in life is to spin news to a certain way to suit their
narrative.
No, not their narrative.
Yeah.
The people who hire them, the people who tell.
Keep them in power.
They're puppet masters,
Right.
whatever you want to call them. I had like over 200 old school amazing documentaries, man. And one of them was Manufacturing Consent. Another one was The Revolution Will Not Be Televised, which is ironic because Giuliani just brought the Venezuelan election up in his press
Dominion.
conference. Yeah. And
Yeah.
so what's weird is that I had a documentary about how the CIA went into Venezuela to influence that election down there back in the mid 2000s. And so it's really weird, man, because you know how, like, I don't know if you ever noticed this, but me and my exes, we've always noticed the exact same weird coincidence, weird pattern of habits, the pattern of occurrences. That whenever we go to the Red Box and we rent a movie, we noticed that there was a weird pattern of occurrences happening every time we rented a box at the Red Box or a movie at the Red Box. We would rent it and there would be like a certain group of actors in it. And then we would because we would rent like 2 or 3 movies at a time, then we'd put the other movie in. And then in that other movie, we didn't even know when we rented it, it would be the same exact actors. Like, what?
It's likely to happen because there's something called star power, where you'll have an actor who will work, a group of actors who will work a lot in a short amount of time, because they're like, oh, well, like Will Smith's the guy right now. Everyone wants to see Will Smith, so he's in like 5 movies in 1 year or whatever. And it's every 3 years, it seems, there's a group of actors who are in like every movie, and then once their star power diminishes, find the next people to be the next stars or whatever. And it's
I was thinking something along the lines of like that that they were pushing a certain kind of like that they were pushing a certain narrative. I don't want to say narrative, that they were pushing a certain feel. Like they want people to feel a certain way. Like, for example, when there's a war, immediately you start seeing movies, even for like kids movies or PG-13 movies, that have to do with like patriotism. Look at Transformers. Do you remember the movie Transformers? It came out literally right when like 9/11 was happening, and like after Iraq invasion. It was like, and then everyone's all like pumped, like in the theater. I remember at the end of the movie, I remember it like it was yesterday. It was cringe. It was cringing. It made my whole skin crawl at the end of the movie because even I felt patriotic. That's why I felt cringed out. Like at the end of the movie of Transformers, when they were all like fighting, and then they were all like, all the jets flew over, and all the soldiers met with the robots, and they were like pushing out the bad guys. The movie shut, and then the entire theater roared in applause. And then even I was like, yeah, like, and after that I was like, oh. It seems that these people, meaning Richard Engel and these groups of market research agencies and publicity agencies, and there's actually an industry of public relations industry, man. PR. They actually have whole buildings designated just to make somebody look good or to make a company look good. And so, of course, for governments, they have the same thing, dude. For the CIA, they have the same thing. Richard Engel epitomizes that group of people, that group of agencies that manipulates and steers discussion in public debate. And Biden just hired him to be his media global team leader.
Right, and that's such a big contrast to what's going on right now with our Senate going after Article 230 with social media, and Trump firing the head of the FCC, hiring a new head of the FCC within the last month of his tenure, or last 2 months of his tenure, this current first 4 years in office. And yeah, it's an amazing contrast that people aren't paying enough attention to. Joe Biden is the ultimate puppet. Like I'm actually this week going to make a compilation of all the times Joe Biden alluded to he doesn't really need to campaign.
Des Moines activist Ed Fallon says his brief conversation with Vice President Joe Biden happened Sunday.
Good job.
Thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Biden made a quick campaign stop at Urban Dreams in Des Moines. Fallon waited in line for a picture and wanted to confront Biden on his climate change proposals. Another member of Fallon's bold Iowa group recorded the cell phone video.
I'm going to support you if you win the nominations. We got to get rid of Trump.
It started off fine, but Biden quickly became agitated when Fallon didn't agree to support him in the caucuses.
We got to stop building and replacing pipelines. You got to go vote for somebody else.
All right, thanks so much, sir. We're going to have you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
I'm going to vote you in the general if you treat me
Yeah,
right.
I know. Well, I'm not.
Well, can I have a
Look,
picture?
you're asking a picture of me, and coming up and telling me you don't support me.
No.
My plan, yeah, you did. You said
I said I will support you in the
in
general.
the general. I'm looking for a primary.
We're happy to
and a
get a number.
caucus.
We can follow up.
That's what I'm looking for, okay?
Just because
Now,
we're trying to get.
you believe that Bernie can do something by 2030?
I'm actually supporting Tom Steyer.
The first surprise is that Biden told Fallon to vote for someone else.
56% of Americans said that they were better off today than they were 4 years ago, would have been under the Obama-Biden administration. So why should people who feel that they are better off today under the Trump administration vote for you?
Well, if they think that, they probably shouldn't.
Over those 8 years, there were 3 million people that were deported and separated from their families.
Yeah.
We had this classification of families.
Well, you should vote for Trump.
Just like right now, if you yell fire, that's not free speech. From the very beginning, I have a shotgun, I have 20 gauge, 12 gauge, my son's hunt. Guess what? You're not allowed to own anyway. I'm not taking that gun away at all. You need 100 rounds? No. I did not say that. That's not true. I did not say that. It's a viral video like the other ones you're putting out there. They're saying they're live.
Well, he just clarified it.
Wait. Take the AR-14s and look.
Hold on. Hey, let's get moving on here. There's a lot of guys wanted this.
I'm not worried.
Give me a break. You're pushing up on me. And there's a lot of guys.
Look, here's the deal. Are you able to own a machine gun? I said, are you able to own one? That's great. AR-15s are legal.
I was having a machine gun.
No, it's not. Yeah, do you need 100 rounds? Do you need 100 rounds?
In America, with handguns, there are what you call assault rifles. Why are you advocating for assault rifles when people are dying by handguns?
Okay, let's.
I represent my individual mind. Thank you.
You're here representing.
I'm representing me.
I'm in trouble.
Listen, you got to come see us when you come to New York, VP Biden.
I will.
It's a long way until November. We got more questions.
You got more questions, but I tell you, if you have a problem figuring out whether you're for me or Trump, and you ain't black.
It don't have nothing to do with Trump. It has to do with the fact I want something for my community. I would love to see.
Take a look at my record, man. I tell you, if you have a problem figuring out whether you're for me or Trump, and you ain't black. We have put together, I think, the most extensive and inclusive voter fraud organization in the history of American politics.
It is really suspicious that Joe Biden spent most of this campaign, this 2020 campaign, hiding in a basement, and then somehow gets millions of more votes than Barack Obama did.
Yeah, right? Come on, bro.
Right.
Are you serious? Biden got more votes than Obama? Come on, dude.
Right.
Wrap your head around that.
And he got more votes than Obama, while Trump also got more votes than Obama. So you're saying more people voted now than double the amount of people voted in this election than ever
voted for Obama times 2.
Mm-hmm. Doesn't make sense.
No, that would be no, man. Because no, man. Okay, so anyways, let's move on beyond that.
And come back to it later, maybe.
Yeah. Because that is a whole can of worms. That look, we want to talk about the election. Look, there's how many huge things going on right now. We've got the election. We've got the election being stolen. Those two different things. There's the election, because that's a big deal. Just by itself is big. And then the election being stolen is big. Then we got the pandemic. Then we got schools closing, because that directly affects every parent in the entire United States. And the children. Oof, come on. We can't forget the children, obviously. That's the number one people, the number one group that's affected. Then we've got what else? Then we've got
what we're talking about now, Joe Biden's new
lockdown, the media.
Yeah, the media.
There's
it's too much to keep up with, honestly. We need a team of like a dozen people and assign each of them to like, you do this one big story, you do this one big story. If you're not like a big operation right now, we can't keep up to talk about it.
I have to disagree. You know why? Just watch a Millie show, a Millie podcast.
Okay.
Watch one. She'll impress you, dude. She does everything, and she does it all live, bro. She doesn't do any editing or anything. That's freaking cool, dude. She's all live. She's sitting at her laptop like this, and then she's like, "Okay, I'm gonna show you guys something." Puts it on the screen. Boom, pops up. See what I'm talking? And then she goes, and then while it's on screen, she's talking, and then she brings it back, and she goes, "See, that's what I'm talking." And then she does this, and look at this square, like, bro. She's like, I can't believe how awesome she is.
I mean, she is pretty awesome. She's the girl from InfoWars, is that right?
Bro, everyone is from InfoWars. Alex Jones, to his credit, inspired an entire generation of influencers.
Right.
Talk about, bro. He deserves a huge pat on the back. Joe Rogan owes him. Joe Rogan, because Alex Jones started his podcast before Joe Rogan did, and they were friends before.
Yeah.
So guess where Joe Rogan got the idea? He won't admit it. He got it from Alex Jones. He hates Alex Jones because he thinks he's crazy, but he's not, bro.
He doesn't hate him. He had him on his podcast again a couple weeks ago, but I would just say Joe Rogan is trying to be as neutral as humanly possible, and you can't do that while consistently endorsing Alex. He defends him too from people. Hate's a strong word. I would say he just has a different strategy than Alex Jones, and unfortunately, it's why Joe Rogan's still on the air, and why Alex Jones is banned everywhere. He was on Tim Pool this last week, and that got banned. It got taken down from the internet. I watched half of it, and then when I got halfway through, it said this is no longer available because of hate speech or whatever.
Yeah, the moment I see something that's like amazing, I download it first and then I watch it, man, because that's happened to me before.
Wow.
That's happened to me before. Yeah. So the moment I watched the Hodge twins, it was amazing, dude.
Well, here's what blows my mind most about the election rigging that's going on is the first two people who brought it up this cycle were Amy Klobuchar and Elizabeth Warren, two of the most prominent Democratic candidates, calling out Joe Biden's presidency or presidential nomination is for the Democratic nominee. And Democrats, no one said anything. And now that Republicans are calling it out, now it's blasphemy, and like you shouldn't make up stories. Like, this is all unsubstantiated. This is all conspiracy theory. It's like exhausting. Like, no, you guys brought it up first, and you don't care because your guy's in power, and he's not even your guy. You probably didn't even pick him as your nominee.
Right.
Anyways. That's just me.
No. No, I mean, it's I don't know. What do you think about the schools being closed?
So what is beyond frustrating for me is our governor Gavin Newsom, who is an insane lunatic, because of his apology response to him going to this fancy dinner in an enclosed restaurant with 12 people at a table without social distancing and everything, is so disingenuous. It's unbelievable. But my favorite thing about this whole BS is his children are going to school right now. His kids go to some private school where they're all going to school and are able to get that experience because they go to some expensive private school. Meanwhile, not only are kids not going to school, but we all have this 10 p.m. curfew we have to like abide by now, which is not scientific at all. It's just some big power flex.
These declassified documents reveal the extent to which the FBI views the FISA spy warrant system.
I love that.
I don't know if you remember, but back in the spring
Yeah,
of
they're the best.
2016, the FBI was in a
Just to, you know how like we run small businesses and we want to support?
Yeah.
Just to support them, I signed up for a subscription for like 3 months now. And then, you know.
Got a new show for y'all. Just another wonderful day in Trump's paradise. It's a beautiful day. Trump is still your president, no matter what mainstream media tells you. He's still man in charge. Yeah. But anyway, today's topic is the mayor of Chicago, Lori Lightfoot. Lightfoot, that sounds like Native American name to me, man.
Hey,
Lightfoot?
Hold on, man. Hold on. Did you see the way he did his? Do you see the way he did his little?
Native, but she's
his little shake.
Yeah.
Yeah, Lori Lightfoot. It's hilarious, bro. Watch.
And gay. That was actually a campaign slogan. Vote for me. I'm black and I'm gay. I'm serious. She's the first lesbian mayor. Well, that's an accomplishment, huh? I don't give a shit about that. I don't care what you do in your bedroom. I want to hear your ideas. How you gonna make my city good, man? Yeah. I don't care how many women you going down on.
That's right.
Ain't none of my business. But that name Lightfoot sounds native to me. Yeah. Like it does, Lightfoot. Like a good. What's a good native name? Jason Stroking Tip. That's a porn name. Lori Deep Throat. That's porn names. What are you talking about? No, man, them Native American names, man. No, a Native American name is like Jimmy Riding Horse. Jimmy Sitting Bull. I can see what Lightfoot's like a but no. Sounds like a native name. That probably came from like a white man's plantation. Yeah, that's probably a damn slave name. Lightfoot, you gotta watch them. They run fast. They part of the Lightfoot plantation. You better keep an eye on them, boy. That boy take off running on you. Lightfoot, Lori Lightfoot, man. Before I start getting in politics, digging in politics, when I come across stupid politicians. Yeah, I'm like, man, how in the world did this person get elected? But now that I'm into politics, I understand. Yeah.
Okay, dude, what they're about to say right now is exactly what we're talking about, dude. And I don't know how Trump is able to represent an entire nation when half the nation are like what they're just about to say right now. Just watch. It's genius.
Listen, the elected official, they only a direct reflection of who's voting for them. So when y'all see a dumb politician, she got a bunch of dumb people in her city.
That's it. That's really it, dude. It all comes down to that. It all comes down to that. Because listen, people who are gonna, and you should watch the rest of it because it's hilarious, dude. They rip into her, man. But I just want to show you that little part because it's so important because people who are educated, intelligent, have families, have a moral compass, who were raised right, you know, it's tough to say some people were not raised right but still came out good, but the majority of the people who in this country run decent, respectable lives are people who come from safe family environments, man, who were raised properly. I mean, it's hard to categorize it that way, but that's sadly the truth. So when you have a city like Los Angeles, or districts in Los Angeles, like the San Fernando Valley, 30th Congressional District, or districts like in Northern California, which is Silicon Valley run, and Silicon Valley owns the media, and the media vice versa, and they're all liberal together. They're all in the same bed. When you have districts like that constantly voting, like for example Nancy Pelosi over and over again, what? It brings you back. It brings you back to what the Hodgkins just said.
Yeah.
The districts who pick these people are stupid. I mean, there's always going to be a small percentage of people like fighting for truth who are just stuck there and they can't get out. And it's sad because the smart people actually leave those towns. But there's always those like me, for example, who have to stay there because of kids, because of family, because of, you know,
obligations.
tie-downs, man. Yeah,
well,
obligations, you know.
There's a potential like different reason for that. I personally do not believe Nancy Pelosi won the re-election, given that San Francisco has lost half of their small businesses since the start of this virus. I think what's going on and what has been going on in California is there has been a lot of election fraud that has been happening. For example, I don't know if you saw this. It was on Newsmax. During an interview with one of Trump's lawyers, the reporter pulls out a document that was an agreement between the Dominion voting system and a county, and that county laid out that votes shall, like exactly in one sentence that was highlighted.
You gotta specify which county. Harris County, right?
No, not Orange. Orange County maybe is included in this, but the one they grabbed from the internet was Santa Clara County, the county I live in, and it highlighted exactly what Dominion voting system would be able to do, which would be to flip votes from turn like one candidate vote into 1.25, another candidate vote.
I heard you say today Dominion, the software was actually designed to be hacked. And I'm looking at one of the agreements they had with the county of Santa Clara on, this is a contract between them and Dominion. Item 226 allows staff to adjust tally based on review of scanned ballot images. Look, you're the lawyer. I'm no tech expert, but that sounds very, very funky to me.
Do you know where Dominion has ties to?
Yeah, well, we talked about it a bit before in our first podcast.
I know. I already know.
The Clinton Foundation. The Clinton Foundation is one of their main funders, but I know they have many other ties.
China.
Yeah.
China
being one of them.
Right? Wasn't the software created in China?
Mm-hmm.
Wasn't the software the software specifically, not just Dominion as a whole, Dominion's electoral voting system is what they call it. Electoral voting system, something like that. Electoral. They had a term for it, and it was like a whole department of Dominion, because Dominion does other things too. They don't just do that. And so this one department was in China. And so when they created the software and they gave it to Dominion, yes, Dominion is I think it's a Kansas City based company, right? Or no, Virginia based. Can you research that for us? I'm not quite sure.
Well, there's a long answer to that one too.
But okay, but my point is that they come from the same sour, rotten tree. China. China is the rotten. In math, they use the term common denominator, right?
Yeah.
Bro, the common denominator in all of this
is China.
From the very beginning of Trump is China.
Yeah, and it makes sense as to why Joe Biden's in power with the connections to his son and everything.
Bro, let's put all the connections together here, okay? Let's do this. Share screen. Boom. Whiteboard. Boom.
Oh boy, we got the whiteboard going.
I'm gonna try something new here. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So let's just say Trump elected.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Well, what about China? They enemy number one.
Right.
The media. Enemy number two.
Something I want to point out really quick about China. I remember in 2012 when Mitt Romney was debating Barack Obama. Mitt Romney said the biggest geopolitical threat to the United States was China. And Barack Obama scoffed at him. And Obama said, no, that's Russia. And then the media afterwards, like, what is Mitt Romney thinking? China? The biggest geopolitical threat to us? And now it's all starting to make sense.
Yeah. No, it's all connected, dude. So when you look at this, when you really look at this, I don't like, why is my color baby blue? What's up with that? Okay. All right. So you see all these three, these are the three enemies that Trump went up against before he was elected. Okay.
Right.
Before he was elected. And that all three of these have to do with the military industrial complex.
Mm-hmm.
And his last year in the election, his last year in his presidency, all of a sudden a virus hits on the year of an election. Where
Right.
does the virus come from? Comes from China.
Yeah.
Who is China friends with? The media. Who's the media friends with? The Democrats. Who's the Democrats enemies with? Trump.
Yeah, and China has every reason to hate Trump.
Most important thing here of all.
Right. Oh yeah, technology, the 5G race.
Come on, guys. All connected, dude. All connected. And then the lockdown.
Yep.
That the Democrats are pushing.
Yeah.
You know,
Texas. Sorry, I was just gonna say Texas yesterday just came out and said they're not locking down again too. They're following Florida's lead.
Yeah, I know. Rick DeSantis and Greg Abbott, man. I mean, those. And I just heard that a lot of people, even in the police world around the country, are starting to move to Texas. So, yeah, man, because they're sick and tired of what's going on around the country too. So literally, Texas is probably going to be one of the last stands, man. Honestly, what gives me a lot of pride though is that Texas is right on the border of Mexico. So we're not going to lose the border.
Right.
At least we won't lose the border, dude.
Right.
You know, like that's for sure, right? And then we got Wyoming and North Dakota to the north, with you know, our Michigan militia members in Michigan, and no, I think our sovereignty is going to stay safe. But California, all I can do is hope that California falls into the ocean when the big one hits. That way, all of the major YouTube influencers, the liberals, the Hollywood elites, the progressive media, oh my God, all the Israeli fanatics, they'll all be in the ocean, man. And then the beachfront property was going to be Arizona. Perfect.
Well, something that is a little scary, and people say a civil war, it can't happen. Well, did It did to like 150 years ago, but I feel like the first state to secede would be California. If that's stuff we're talking about, if Trump gets reelected, is
Yeah.
states.
Well, I mean, they
not
had
being
already
independent.
talked. They had already talked about that for a while.
Yeah, they created the alliance too between Oregon and Washington. So.
Well, no, I mean,
yeah,
like, so for years they've been talking, for years, for like decades they've been talking about not just breaking up California, but giving it a new name, breaking up Los Angeles, breaking up the San Fernando Valley, pulling out. That stuff never works. It just never works. Even North Dakota and South Dakota and North Carolina and South Carolina, when they did that, they were, I mean, they were not technically full states yet. So
right.
It really doesn't, it's not a precedent. But going back to my screen share. Okay, so this is important. The reason why I wanted to get to this is because this is kind of what's throwing my mind in circles whenever I try to discuss it. So most important thing here to understand is that when we're trying to connect the dots on I don't know, let's say why is the virus happening? Well, the virus is happening because China, which helped spur these viruses in the very beginning, even before Trump was elected, they influenced the media to go after Trump. When the media went after Trump, the media was working hand in hand with the Democrats because the Democrats also work with China on very, very global, macro economic issues.
Right.
And so,
yeah.
Go ahead.
Oh, sorry. I was just gonna say, whether or not you believe it came from a lab, which there's plenty of evidence to suggest that.
Well,
China,
who wouldn't believe that?
A lot of people, because the media has been saying that. But I just want to say whether or not you believe that China stopped domestic travel from Wuhan, but it did not stop international travel from Wuhan. So China intentionally allowed the virus to spread all over the world.
That's interesting. Wow.
Yeah.
That's interesting. Well, okay, so check this, man. So we've got Trump being elected. The Democrats hate Trump. The media hates Trump. China hates Trump. Trump talked about how he was going to regulate trade with China. Trump talked about how the media in the very beginning was one-sided and fake. Trump obviously is a Republican, so the Democrats hate him. All three of these organizations, these movements, these, what do you want to call them? What do you want to call them? I mean, groups. Regardless, all three of these have a vested interest in removing Trump from office. And all three of these have been pushing coronavirus one way or another. When we think about why on earth the coronavirus could possibly be linked to the Democrats, why on earth the coronavirus could possibly be linked to China, well, we need to remember, like I just said, 5G, dude, what am I doing? 5G, dude, is literally being positioned perfectly right now with the virus. This disgusting fake hoax of a pandemic is causing people to now fall into an obsession with technology and purchasing things online and making things streamlined because nobody's going out as much anymore, and because the Democrats and the media both are pushing for everything to be closed, and now Biden pushing everything to be closed. 5G is going to get even bigger. Think about it. All the organizations that are going to be investing in 5G, just from the stock market point of view, I'm telling you, they're going to make billions after Biden gets elected, because then 5G is going to be pushed on all of us. A lot of people are going to be forced to database themselves using 5G, because if nobody understands what 5G is going to do, we all have 4G now. What 5G is going to do is it's going to essentially let the government, it's going to force every single citizen in this entire every single person in this entire world, not just the United States, in the entire world, to download apps on their phone that scan their retinas just to get into stores.
Yeah, well, we're seeing that already.
Hold on, man. Hold on. They not just that, scan their temperature just to get into a store. Scan their real ID code to make sure that they don't owe any money. The idea of the movie behind Tom Cruise, the movie of Tom Cruise where I don't want to say it was called Minority Report. It was a movie where Tom Cruise was a police officer and he would stop crime from happening in the future.
That is Minority Report.
Is that Minority Report?
Yeah,
all right,
directed by Steven Spielberg.
No. These people know. Bro, come on, man. They know everything, dude. Look at all the names behind the Biden administration's transition team, dude. It's sickening.
Understand your frustration with it. If you don't believe what Christian is saying right now, audience, right now it's already being stated, in order to go to a concert, which Ticketmaster basically owns all the major concert venues. If you want to go to a concert, not owns venues, but you have to use Ticketmaster and go to see a concert in a big venue, you'll have to be vaccinated. You'll have to show your electronic record of vaccination in order to receive your ticket. So that is as close as anything can get in a society with limited government like the United States has, to having forced vaccinations. And the vaccination, the data is already coming out and showing most people don't want the vaccine because they know the virus has a 99.98 survival rate that is actually continuing to go up survival rate wise, because we are developing an immune system for a virus, which is what happens with viruses. And even Fauci is talking about we need to develop herd immunity to it. But these Democratic governors don't have the scientific understanding of the importance of herd immunity. And they're all obsessed with like locking down again and again. And like you said, Christian, it is bringing about these technological dependencies, which will bring a lot of money to 5G. Movie theaters, for example, they're not going to survive another year of lockdowns. So movies are abandoning movie theaters. I love going to the movies. I love the cinematic experience, but now in order to see a movie, you can't, like, in 2 years from now, you won't be able to go to a movie theater to do it because they'll be all out of business. And there's incentive to watch something on your phone via 5G. You wanna see the latest movie coming out, you gotta download it, watch it on your phone, pay $30 or whatever, do it on your phone like Mulan and Disney did. Point being is it feels suspiciously by design. It just feels that way.
We're at a stage in the game here in the world where if you haven't woken up by now, you're going to be in that group that's not going to wake up. Right now, the whole world came up to an understanding. Either you're on one side or you're on another. After this lockdown, it literally broke the whole world into two.
Mm-hmm.
People who believe in the bullshit and people who don't believe in it.
Mm-hmm.
If you haven't woken up by now, if you're in that group of millions of people around the world who actually think the government is there to help you, who actually think that the government is there to protect you, who actually think that these lockdowns are better, that masks work, that all these things that the mainstream news is trying to shove down your throat. If you're in that demographic of people who actually believe that still, you will never be in that group of people who are woken.